Good morning and welcome to the Virtual Village Hall. I hope you're really well today, that you're staying well, warm and dry. I'm Rachel from I Printed That. I'm a print artist based in Rochester in Kent, and I love nothing more than getting my hands messy with ink and paint. But in today's session, we're going to be using something quite slightly different to what I normally use. So we won't be printing, but we are painting in inverted commas using these. So these here are acrylic paint pens. Now, if you've used them before, then I'm sure that you are really into them and you love them because they're brilliant. If you haven't used them before, then I think it's something that you're really going to like if you like getting crafty. Because an acrylic paint pen, as the name suggests, is a pen that you can draw with. You get different nib sizes. This is a very thin one. I've got thicker ones here that are more kind of like marker pens. So different nib sizes. They are pens, so you draw with them rather than paint with them. And they are full inside of acrylic paint, but it's not your kind of normal acrylic paint because it's very sort of condensed. It's also very concentrated, that's the right word. It's concentrated and also highly pigmented. So you can get some really good opaque colouring with these when you use them. Now, acrylic paint pens, they claim that they can draw on anything. I know, that's their claim. I thought we would try it out today by using them to paint onto candles. And we all know that wax and water, because these are water-based pens, wax and water do not mix. So normally, if you would just paint onto a candle, it would just bubble up and then the paint would just fall off eventually or rub off. But look here, I've used these pens and it's not rubbing off at all. So I think that they are true, that they can paint on pretty much any surface. So today, that's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be painting, in inverted commas again, using acrylic paint pens onto candles. So let's pop you down and I'll show you how the pens work. So here we have a selection. They come in some gorgeous colours. So anything from your pastels to your neons through to your brights, and also your sturdy black and white as well, which is always useful for those highlights. To use them, you need to, what colour should we go for? Let's go for a red, that'll stand out. You need to give them a good shake. Oh look, Annie matches my top today. To give them a really good shake to get all the acrylic paint working in the barrel of the pen. And then you just need to gently just press on the paper with the lead and that with the nib, and that will get the paint flowing and it will feel the fibre tip, and then you can use them. And as you can see, the coverage is brilliant. I mean, it's way better than a felt tip pen. You know, with a felt tip pen, you can sometimes have little lines, but if you look there, it's a really solid, really lovely, solid colour. So let's just try some of these gorgeous colours out. And if you're just finding it's losing a little bit of the ink, just a little bit of spare paper, give it a few kind of dips, and that will get your pen flowing nicely. So acrylic paint pens, let's give them a go, shall we? So we're going to paint our candles today. You can use any coloured candle because the pens are opaque. You can paint light on dark colours, or if you want to go for a white background, then use some of your brights or your pastel colours, neons. Oh, you can even get these in metallic, I've just remembered. So that's what we're going to be doing today, painting our candles. You could use tapered candles as well, like dinner candles, dinner table candles, pillar candles. This one's quite a sort of an unusual shaped one, but I love this colour, and I've had it for quite a while and I'm getting a little bit bored with it, so I'm just going to jazz it up with these paint pens. The only candles that I would suggest not using are tea lights, because by the time you've spent all the time painting them, if you're taking the little silver bit, spent all the time painting them, they're not going to last very long. So I would stick to these kind of pillar and dinner table candles. So we need to start with the design. As you know, I quite like to go for the organic sort of shapes. So we're just going to start just by doing a few sort of warm-up exercises, just a bit of doodling to kind of get you in the swing of it. Make sure my pen's working nicely. So let's just do a little bit of warm-up. Let's do some of these great shapes. And as I'm drawing them, I'm kind of imagining them to be trees, these cypress trees kind of blowing in the wind. So I'm just filling up the space here, just with some lines. I'm not after them being straight or well sort of neatly positioned apart. I'm just showing you really just by drawing a few simple lines, simple shapes, just some dots. It doesn't take long before we're building up a pattern. I'm going to do some large elongated dots, spots for this one. And just a little warm-up exercise is getting us used to using the pen. And like with any muscles that we use, it's always good to get them warmed up so that they'll flow easily. Let's fill this in with dots. So if you're just joining us, we're just having a little practice with some acrylic paint pens. Maybe you've come across them before. Please do let me know in the comments if you're a newbie to acrylic paint pens or what you use them for. They're so versatile. On fabric, you can use them on plastic, paper like I'm doing, and we're going to be using them on wax today to decorate some candles. Okay, so I think that's good. I'm feeling warmed up. I hope you are too. So let's start on our candle. Now, when you're doing your candle, it might be helpful to put it onto maybe a candle holder or a cup or something, just so you can turn it round. You can have it in front of you, paint it in front of you, and turn it round as you go so that you're not smudging it. But for the purposes of today, so that you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to be just having it just laying flat. I've already done that side, it's all nice and dry, so that's not going to cause us any problems. So I've got my pen as I said, don't go when you're painting onto the wax. I would suggest going for a thick nibbed acrylic paint pen, because if you use one of the small nibs, although you do get, I did test this out for you, although you do get a certain amount of paint going onto the candle, because it's such a fine nib, it does tend to scratch the candle too, and you end up with a wax build up here and it will ruin your pens. So go with one of the larger marker pens, and that's really why I suggest using the larger candles too. So let's just shake this up. And I've got my pen next to me. And there is actually one thing that we need to do before we start drawing on it. That's good, that's coming through. Before we start, it's just a good idea to clean your candle. So I've just got some alcohol gel here. And just some tissue. And that will just make sure that you've cleared it of any dust. Just leave that to dry for a minute or two before we start painting. Just want to make sure there we go. I think that's dry. It's lovely how quickly alcohol gel dries. And just using some of the designs that we did here, I'm just going to put those onto my candle. Okay, I'm just going to check the other side because I want them to match up. And if you make a mistake, because they are water-based, all you need to do is just wet the top of a cotton bud, but before it dries, you can just remove it, and then you can just paint over again. Okay. So let's start by adding bits in the middle. I keep just looking behind just so that I can remember what I did. Then just using the tip of the pen, just randomly fill it in with dots. I'm not after a polka dot perfect design. if you're looking to use more than one colour on your candles, then just make sure you let each colour dry before painting on top of it. You will end up with smudges, and these really don't take long to dry at all. I imagine the first sort of lines that we draw at the beginning of the session will actually be dry by the end of it. And you can see just by using a series of lines, kind of swirls, some dots, we built up this really nice pattern. So we just need to add these ones. Okay. So I'll add a bit more to the design. I see on the other side I've got these that are sloping down, so we're going to draw some of those now. And I'm just following the contours of the previous ones that I drew. Came out a little bit fast, that bit, so I'm just going to take that away. Okay, and with this one we are just going to do some sort of large random circles. I'm doing some half circles as well, just to show that it's going off the side. And fill it in. Okay. So I'm going to try and do this upside down for you. Trying to be careful not to smudge what I've already done. Although, if I show you, look, that's almost pretty much dry now. So they do dry really quickly, so you can use them almost immediately. Okay, so that's the main part done. And now I just want to finish the other side with this motif here. So all I've done is just draw a line. And it doesn't necessarily have to be straight, but what I'm doing, I'm just using, I've got a groove here, so I'm going to put my finger in that groove and keep the nib at the same level, touching the candle, and then just move the candle so I get almost a straight line. It's easier if I'm looking at it actually. It just gives you a little bit of a guide. You get, and then I'll just do the same with the top. I have to do it like that. I'm trying to show you what I'm doing whilst doing it, and that's it's proving a bit tricky. Okay, so on this side, let's have a look. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 7. So let's just draw those in. I'm not too worried about being completely symmetrical, but it's nice to just sort of have a little bit of that. A bit more paint. And then I'm just going to fill these with marks about the same. And in keeping with my main design. Oh, and I've just got a pen on me. Take that off so it doesn't rub elsewhere. So stripes, I'll do some more dots. Stripes going the other way. Again, I don't want them to, I think my pen, I think I might need to get a new white pen. Should hopefully it will last just to the end of the session. Okay. That's what I've got. I've got some larger spots. Trying not to make it look symmetrical, but it's really difficult in a small space. fill it in with tiny dots. I think my pen is just about to run out. So let's finish it off with some dots. And some more stripes. Final one. Oh, and just and there we have a painted candle. So if you're looking to maybe jazz up an old candle, you want to change a candle so that it fits in with your kind of room aesthetic. If you want to make some presents for friends, some personalised candles, then I think that the acrylic paint pens are the best way to go. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this morning. I'm Rachel from I Printed That, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. See you later. Bye.